You've heard the speculation. Who will be the next defensive coordinator for Nebraska football? Everybody has their opinions. However, I believe I just found the perfect candidate to be the Huskers' next DC, somebody who checks every single box and would guaranteed bring the black shirts back to national relevance. So in today's video, I'm going to introduce you to who he is, what he brings to the table, why he would be a home run hire for the Big Red, and everything else you need to know. So really quick, this is a loaded video talking about our future DC. Hit that like button if you're fired up. And also, I want to thank every single one of you for 15,000 subscribers on the channel. I'm going to continue to work hard every single day to bring you the best content on Nebraska YouTube, whether it's coaching carousel updates just like this, transfer portal updates, recruiting updates. If you want to stay in tune with the Huskers this offseason, it's no brainer. Take 2 seconds, join the family, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. You've heard the speculation ever since it was announced that Nebraska has fired first-year defensive coordinator John Butler. Everybody has been asking, who are we going to hire to replace him? And I believe I have found the perfect candidate to bring the Black Shirts back to national dominance. I want to introduce you to one of the hottest names on the coaching market, the current defensive coordinator with the Toledo Zips, Vince Karras. Now, some quick background information on him. He's been the defensive coordinator over there for 6 seasons. He runs a 4-2-5 defense. He is 49 years old, and he is getting interest from Big Ten schools, SEC schools, schools all over America, and he's about to get a big-time DC job potentially at Nebraska. So let's start off with his ideals, his background, what you need to know about him, because he has a lot of experience. Like I said, he checks almost every single box. You got to start things off with his history as a player, because I told you guys I want to look for a defensive coordinator who has a track record of great defensive line play, whether they were a defensive lineman themselves, whether they coached the defensive line. He checks both those boxes. He started off his career as a DN for Mount Union, which is a D3 college from 94 to 97. He was an all-American player. He checks every single box on the football field. He was a standout. He won 2 national championships, and he was coached by his father, who is a Hall of Fame coach, goes by the name of Larry Karras, who inspired him to become a coach right after him. So he was a standout defensive lineman in D3. After he was done with his playing career, he ended up coaching for Mount Union, which is a D3 university. He started off as a defensive line coach, so that's a box checked right there. He was their defensive line coach from 2000 to 2003, and in that span, he won 3 national championships with one of the best defensive lines in all of D3 football. They were focused on 3 traits: energy, explosiveness, aggression, and overall just getting to the quarterback at a high level. That's exactly what they did. So he's one of the best defensive line coaches in all of America. Again, I know people are going to say, oh, it's D3. It doesn't matter. Production's production. He knows how to bring the best out of talent. After that, he took over as the defensive coordinator at Mount Union from 2005 to 2012, while his dad was the head coach. Again, still on a great run. His dad was a Hall of Famer. And over that span as a defensive coordinator, he won 4 more national championships in that time period. Once again, one of the hottest defensive coordinators on the market in D3. They led America in least rushing yards per game, least passing yards per game, least points given up per game. And then after that, after the 2012 season, his dad retired and he took over as the head coach at Mount Union once again in D3 from 2013 to 2019. And from that span, they made the title game in D3 football 5 of the 7 years. He won 2 of those national championships. He has a record as a head coach of 95-6. You heard me correctly. 95-6 as a head coach. And over his span as a player, as a defensive line coach, a defensive coordinator, and as a head coach, he has contributed to 9 national championships. So say what you want about this guy. He's a bona fide winner. He's a winner. And over that span with Mount Union, he won a bunch of awards. I'll just read them off to you. He was a 3-time OAC Coach of the Year. He was a 3-time Lee Tressel Ohio Coach of the Year. He was a 3-time Columbus Dispatch Ohio Coach of the Year. And he won multiple D3 Coach of the Year, this, that, and the third, whether it was head coach, coordinator, everything. He's won every award imaginable in D3 football, and particularly in the state of Ohio. So that leads us to now. Because he's no longer at Mount Union. He took the Toledo job in 2022, stepped all the way up to D1 football in FBS for the MAC team. He was the defensive coordinator there from 2020 to right now. And we know that they've improved pretty much every single year. They inherited not a very good situation. It's hard to win in the MAC, especially at Toledo with their limited resources. And let's just jump forward to this year. Again, they've improved every single year. Let's go to 2025, why he's one of the hottest coaches on the market. I'm going to read off some stats to you. This year at Toledo, take in mind this is Toledo, okay? Hard to win there, not a lot of talent. They have the 5th best defense in America when it comes to yards per game. They only give up 260 yards per game. They're second in America in yards allowed per play. Only second, of course, to Ohio State at 3.9. They're 4th in scoring defense. They only allow 13 points per game. They're 8th in rushing yards given up per game, only giving up 91. They're 10th in passing yards given up per game, 170. They're 3rd in yards per rush. They're 3rd in red zone defense. They're 2nd in nation in pass defense efficiency, and they're tied for 9th in America in total sacks. So he checks quite literally every single box from a statistical standpoint. Once again, that's at Toledo. Now, I know the big question mark, again, Nebraska fans, they'll say, well, he hasn't coached in Power 4. What has he done against a Power 4 team? Has he beat an SEC team? Has he beat a Big 12 team? Has he beat a Big 10 team? Well, they did play Kentucky this season, week 1, on the road, hostile environment. They only gave up 24 points, and against Kentucky, the Wildcats, they only threw for less than 100 passing yards, only 85 on the day, and once again, only gave up 24 points. They lost the football game simply because the offense couldn't put up points themselves, but again, still, that was a dominant performance against Kentucky, and other than that, after that game, they've been absolutely dominant. Pretty much every single MAC team they play, they only give about 7 or 10 points on the matchup. So here are the boxes that he checks. Okay, let's go over every single one of them, because I told you guys 2 days ago, I need about 7 qualifications in order to, find our perfect candidate to be our next defense coordinator. My first candidate, or my first box that I needed checked was strong experience for at least over 10 years. Well, he checks that box not only as a DC, but as a head coach, right? That's a little bonus. I'm not asking for somebody to be a head coach in their past, but he's done that. Number 2, he's a great recruiter. Okay, he's never been a recruiter necessarily at the Power 4 ranks, but again, at every single level he's been at, he's been a great recruiter. So he checks that box. He's energetic. He's innovative. That's huge. Okay, you need to have energy. You can't be, just stoic on the sidelines. Okay, you need to be kind of like a Mike Eckler, right? Because those are the best coaches. Those are the coaches that the players love. 4, you need to be an up-and-coming future head coach. And the reason why I want that is because, he not only has a background of being a head coach, but he wants to be a head coach again. And you need to have that mindset, because if you're, just okay with being a defensive coordinator the rest of your career, you're going to be complacent. You're not going to be innovative. You're not going to be energetic. You're not going to always, go for your A game. You could argue Dana Holgorsen right now is complacent. You could argue, again, this, that, and third about some other coordinators who are complacent. He will not be complacent because he wants to be a future head coach. I told you guys I want somebody who runs either a 4-3 or a 4-2-5, ideally a 4-2-5, because again, that's the modern scheme that you need nowadays in college football, right? Pretty much everyone's runs a 4-2-5 or a 3-3-5. Again, the days of the 4-3 are pretty much done. So that box is checked. He runs a 4-2-5. I said ideally, this is ideally, he's not coming off of being fired. Well, that's definitely not the case, and he's one of the hottest names on the market. And also I said, again, he needs a background in D-line. He does. So he checks quite literally every single box. And the last box that I didn't include, but I'll include this time, this dude's a winner. This dude's a winner. Looked at his track record. All he's done is won. He's never lost. He's never lost. Again, he's only been at 2 different spots, Toledo and Mount Union, but all he knows is winning. Okay, let me remind you of his head coaching record. 95-6. Unbelievable. And again, he's contributed to 9 national championships in his span. So, and also, there's 3 ideals that he has in his defense, right? That he talks about. There's number 1, 11 as 1. Okay, he says 11 as 1, 11 men playing as 1 unit. It should be noted that Matt Earn's press conference yesterday, he mentioned that exact phrase. That's not a very common phrase. It is common, but it's not very common. I'm just saying, if Matt Rhule, Nebraska weren't talking to him, that probably wouldn't have come to his head. But that's one of his biggest traits, to say 11 as 1, 11 as 1. We were playing as a unit. Something Nebraska, we've lacked at doing that. His second biggest ideal, stopping the run. Okay, this guy knows Midwest football. He knows how to win in the Midwest. And you need to have a dominant secondary. You need to stop the pass, but more than anything, when it gets cold, when there's snow, when there's rain, you need to stop the run. That's his second biggest ideal. And the third biggest ideal that he preaches in every single defense, win the money down. Okay, you don't have to win first down. You don't have to win second down, but you must win the money down. Meaning, again, big third down. You need to get a stop. Get off the field. That's exactly what they do. Fourth down, game on the line. Goal line. Can you get the stop? That's exactly what he does. Okay, and you see that because he has one of the best red zone defenses in America, one of the best third down defenses in America. That's proven with the statistics. So there'd be too many times in the past for Nebraska, we have a great first down, maybe get a sack, or one of the rare times you get a sack, it's second down and 20, and we still give up a first down because we have terrible third down defense. That's the opposite of what he preaches. Okay, it's okay if maybe you give up 5 yards on first down, but you got to win the money down. That's all that matters when it comes to him. And when it comes to defense, and again, that's how you are successful, really. That's what all the great defensive coordinators preach. Now, I will say, there's never a full-on perfect candidate. And there's always going to be Nebraska fans who will say, well, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do this. People will say, well, he has no Power 4 experience. Okay, I mean, that's fair, right? But is that really a non-negotiable? Okay, he's from the MAC, which, again, is very similar when it comes to play style to the Big Ten. Yes, he's never been a Big Ten defensive coordinator before, but sometimes you have to get these up-and-comers, right? It's very rare to find this perfect candidate who has experience at the SEC school, Big Ten school, NFL. It's just hard. It's hard, right? You need these up-and-comers. I mean, this is the type of hire Nick Saban would have made. Nick Saban loves these type of guys. It doesn't matter where you coach. If you have production, you have production. Okay, I'd much rather have somebody who's a D3 coach or a high school coach or a Toledo coach who has production than an Alabama coach who's really done nothing or has just been average. So people will say that. People will say, well, he hasn't recruited top talent yet, and that's valid, right? We don't know how he is as a recruiter, but again, he's going to bring a top-tier staff. You better believe that because he's been a head coach in this past. He knows how to hire good staff. He knows how to win. Those are really the only cons. I mean, he's young. I mean, again, he still has probably 20 years of experience left. He probably wants to be a future head coach, but if not, he could be our long-term DC for the next 10 years. You never know. Now, let's talk about his Nebraska connection real quick. Again, we already know he's getting interest from Michigan State, a couple of other open vacancies. Right now, he's getting interest from SEC schools. I expect Penn State to get involved whenever they hire a head coach. Again, we know that Matt Rhule literally just expressed his mantra in the press conference yesterday. I don't think that was by mistake. Again, successful Midwest defense. He knows how to win in this region of the country. He's a big trenches guy, knows how to win, particularly when it comes to the defensive line, get to the quarterback. He's been a head coach before. His father is a cultural Hall of Famer, so that's all he knows is coaching. Man, I mean, again, what's not to love? So what can you expect if Nebraska hires him? What can you expect? You can expect somebody who's a proven leader with a proven track record of success every stop he's taken. He's improved the trenches everywhere he's went, particularly with the defensive line, but also with the linebacker core. Elite secondary play. He knows how to take the ball away, which is most important. We have not took the ball away ever as Nebraska. Like in the past 10 years, that should be one of the black shirts, the biggest, thing of being a black shirt defender, taking the ball away. This year, we couldn't take the ball away. Last year, we couldn't take the ball away. They always preach aggression. We are never actually aggressive. This guy knows how to take the ball away. He's innovative. He has a strong focus on the X and O's. He's somebody who will out-game plan opposing offensive coordinators, something that John Butler could never do. And he's somebody, more than anything, who's in a pursuit of excellence. He's not okay with being average. That's why he took a leap of faith to go be Toledo's defensive coordinator. That's a big jump to go from being the head coach of a D3 school. You're that guy. You could retire legend to go all the way to D1 football to be a DC. That's a big jump. That's a big leap of faith, but he took it because he trusts himself and he's in pursuit of excellence. And reasonably, if he's killing it at Toledo, this is the next move, right? To go be a DC at a Big Ten school. Okay, because he's not going to go to the SEC. He's going to go to the Big Ten. We know that. We know that. So people are going to ask, will this actually happen? Well, we'll see, right? Well, there's going to be a lot of coaches who we interview. We're probably going to interview 20, 30 guys, right? I don't think that's a hot take to say. But I will tell you right now, there's just not a candidate you're going to find who has experience as him, who checks as many boxes as we just talked about. And Rhule needs to look nationwide. I don't want any bias in this coaching search. I think a lot of times Nebraska fans, we get caught up in stuff that doesn't matter. Nebraska fans will say, well, does he have Nebraska connections? Was he born in the state? Did he play here? Did he coach here? It's irrelevant. That doesn't matter. They'll say, well, what experience does he have in the Big Ten? It matters a little bit, but in this case, it doesn't really matter because he has experience everywhere else. What matters more than anything is the production, the statistics behind your name, and the future of your career. And you can't tell me there's somebody who has a brighter future than this guy. There's just very few. Very few. So Vince Karras, somebody who we need to know his name. We need to start advocating for this man. It's clear Matt Rhule already knows who he is. But if there's somebody who we need here to bring back the black shirts, not to relevancy, not to, just being average, not to only being in the top 40. If you want somebody to bring the black shirts back to dominance, which is exactly what we need, this is your man. If you want to look for average, go somewhere else. If you want to look for okay, go somewhere else. But if you want somebody who's in the pursuit of excellence, I'll go back to his 3 ideals. 11 as 1, stop the run, win the money down. If that is music to your ears, if you want the black shirts to come back, this is your guy. into somebody who we should rally around to be Nebraska's next defensive coordinator. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Again, shout out to my man, Cornhusker Cole, for bringing this to my attention. That's my guy. He's been rallying for this guy, and I did my research. I'm like, you know what? He's a stout. We got to get him. So, all right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Hey, if you made this far, hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go grad, go, and I'll see you in the next one.